Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? Nobody saw the nights I couldn't sleep because I thought I had destroyed everything. The moment I had to borrow money from friends just to pay rent after selling PayPal. Most people think Tesla was built in a moment of genius. It wasn't, it was built in moments of collapse. If you're someone who's struggling right now, if you failed once or maybe 100 times and you think you're done, I'm telling you that's exactly where greatness begins. I'm not here to sell you some story. I'm here to tell you what actually happened. Because I did fail over and over again before Tesla even had a chance to breathe. So where are you listening from today? Drop it in the comments. Let me know where you're tuning in from. And also like and subscribe to this channel because this journey, it's yours too. When I was building Tesla, people told me it was stupid. Literally, they said it wouldn't work. One investor laughed at me, laughed and said, "EVs? You think you can beat GM and Ford?" Here's the truth. I didn't expect to succeed. I just couldn't accept the world staying the same. So I pushed and I failed. And I pushed again. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you're not innovating enough. That's what I said then, and I meant it, and I still live by that rule now. But let me tell you something. People don't talk about the cost of that failure. There was a moment, 2008, where Tesla was literally weeks away from death. We had one last shot to raise funding. We had burned through almost everything. I remember sitting with the team and thinking, if this last investor doesn't come through, it's over. And it was Christmas Eve, 3 days away from bankruptcy. SpaceX had failed, 3 launches, and I was sitting in a room thinking, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I really screwed this. But what I learned from that moment, and what you're about to hear, will change the way you approach every hardship in your life. When people say, "Elon, you're a genius," I always laugh. There were nights I slept on the floor of the factory. I didn't have a house. I'd rather sleep in the factory, so the team knows I'm there with them. I said not because I wanted them to work harder, but because I couldn't ask them to do something I wasn't willing to do. If you're trying to build something, you don't need to be the smartest person in the room. You need to be the one who won't stop showing up. That's what matters. Most people don't know that I used the entire $180 million I made from PayPal to fund SpaceX, Tesla, and Solar City. That's right. I didn't keep a single dollar. I had to borrow money for rent. Now, I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm saying that if you believe in something deeply enough, you have to risk looking like a fool before you look like a genius. If you're broke right now but you're building, keep going. If people think you're crazy, good. If no one believes in your dream, perfect. That's how it started for me. People thought I was an idiot. No one believed SpaceX would even get a rocket off the ground. I had engineers quit on me. One said, "You don't understand physics enough to run a rocket company." He might have been right, but guess what? We launched 2008, was challenging. The economy was crashing. Tesla's Roadster had massive production problems, and I was splitting my time between SpaceX and Tesla, sleeping on factory floors, skipping meals, and borrowing money just to survive. I was down to my last $40 million. I had to decide, do I give it all to SpaceX or all to Tesla? I chose both. I split the money and prayed. We didn't even have enough parts to finish production. Employees were quitting. Investors were walking out mid-meeting. And right there inside that fire, I learned the 3 most important lessons of entrepreneurship, of leadership, and of life that I will share with you by the end of this video. Because no matter what you're building, these 3 lessons apply. They're not theories, they're survival tools. There was a night, late December 2008, where I sat alone, completely drained. Tesla was out of cash. We were days from missing payroll. The fundraising round had stalled. It felt like the end. SpaceX had only just survived. Our 4th Falcon 1 launch had barely succeeded a few months earlier, and we were still waiting to hear from NASA. There were no guarantees. I'd already poured nearly everything I had into both companies. I was borrowing money just to pay rent. I remember thinking, it's all gonna collapse. I'll go bankrupt. Tesla's dead. And then I got the call. We're wiring the $40 million. That was the funding round. We'd fought tooth and nail to close. It came through just in time. On Christmas Eve, the 24th of December 2008, the money hit. Tesla was saved by ours. If that deal hadn't closed before Christmas, the company would have gone under. No exaggeration. One phone call saved us. But that wasn't the end. That was just the start of what I call the dark years. Because just surviving doesn't mean you're winning. And what happened next nearly broke me. But inside that darkness, I made one decision, one mental shift, that changed how I lead, how I build, and how I live. People think 2009 was a celebration. It wasn't. Sure, we got the fund, we could pay staff again, but we had no clear product roadmap, no stable supply chain, and public trust in Tesla near zero. One journalist wrote, "Tesla is a Silicon Valley science experiment, not a real car company." Even some of our own team wondered if they should leave, while they still had options, and I don't blame them. I didn't have answers. I just had responsibility. Up until that point, I believed I could outwork any problem, push harder, sleep less, demand more, but something wasn't working. The team were losing faith, and I realized if I didn't change how I thought, nothing else would change. So I made a decision. Stop being the engineer who fixes problems. Start being the leader who builds belief. You can have the perfect business plan. You can have funding, smart people, market demand. But if your team, your partners don't believe in the mission, none of it sticks. Pause for a second. Are you leading something? A project? A team? A family? Your own recovery? Then ask yourself this. Do the people around you believe in what you're doing? Or are they just following the routine? That's where real leadership starts. In those years between 2009 and 2012, every step forward came with 3 steps of criticism. Tesla is a toy. Musk doesn't know the auto industry. Electric cars will never scale. And we were still hemorrhaging cash. We had a saying inside Tesla back then: every week we survive is a miracle. People see the Model S now and think it was always like this, but the Model S almost didn't exist. We had to rebuild the drivetrain, redesign the battery architecture, and re-engineer manufacturing itself. I remember walking the Fremont factory one night in 2010. It was silent. Everyone had gone home. I stood there staring at the empty floor and asked myself, if Tesla died tomorrow, would it have mattered? Not to investors, not to press, but to the world. Would we leave anything behind? That night, I decided Tesla isn't a company, it's a mission, and if it dies, we're gonna make sure it dies, making something that matters. From that day on, I stopped worrying about making Tesla safe and started making it significant. What does that mean? It means every product, every release, every update had to move the world forward. Not just our stock price, not just our ego, but actual progress. We cut features that didn't serve the mission. We rejected deals that looked good, but slowed us down. We focused on the next right thing, not the easiest thing. That mindset saved us. These are the actual filters I started using during those years, and I still use them today. 1. Does this solve a real problem? If not, drop it. 2. Is this decision reversible? If yes, move fast. If not, go slow and get it right. 3. Would I be proud of this 10 years from now? If the answer's no, don't ship it. These 3 filters simplify complex chaos. Use them in business, in life, in relationships. Let me tell you something most people don't know. The first Model S prototype, the one we demoed for investors and press, almost didn't start. I'm talking 30 minutes. Before the presentation, the car wouldn't boot. Engineers were under the hood, rewiring things manually, while I was upstairs prepping slides. I remember standing behind the curtain, thinking this is it. Either we impress the world, or we confirm every doubt they've had. We launched it. It worked fairly. But that one moment, that one successful reveal, bought us another year of trust. And that year gave us the breathing room to stabilize. You know what's crazy? Years later, people ask me, Elon, did you ever almost quit? Yes. All the time. But that's not the point. The world doesn't care how close you were to the edge. They care that you made it, that you finished, that you showed up anyway. So here's what I want you to do today. Think about the thing you're building, or fixing, or surviving, and ask yourself, am I committed to this only when it's easy, or also when it feels impossible? Because the people who win aren't the ones who never doubt it. They're the ones who recommitted after the doubt. By 2013, Tesla was no longer a secret. The Model S was winning awards. Sales were climbing. The media was buzzing. Most people think success means peace. But for us, it was the exact opposite. Suddenly, every mistake felt magnified. Every delay was a headline. Every decision became a test. Because when you win, everyone expects you to never lose. And that pressure, it can crush even the strongest. Here's something few talk about. Success doesn't solve your problems. It changes them. Before, our biggest enemy was survival. Now it was expectation. Investors expected rapid growth. Customers expected perfection. And the public, they expected miracles every quarter. You start to realize, you're not just building a company anymore. You're carrying a symbol. And symbols are fragile. When you're small, you can move quietly. But as Tesla grew, every move was watched, scrutinized. I learned that visibility cuts both ways. It brings opportunity,
but it also brings relentless criticism. At times, the stress was overwhelming. Phone calls at 2 a.m., headlines questioning my leadership, social media storms. The question wasn't just about making the next car. It was, can I handle this constant pressure? To survive, I had to build resilience, mental toughness, not by ignoring stress, but by managing it intentionally. Here's what helped. I carved out time daily for reflection and rest, even if just 10 minutes of quiet. I stopped trying to solve every problem at once. Instead, I chose the most critical few. I learned to say no to distractions, to unnecessary meetings, and to noise. Resilience isn't about being tough all the time. It's about pacing yourself for the long run. Pause for a moment. What routines or habits help you stay steady when life feels overwhelming? Is a prayer, meditation, a daily walk, a trusted friend? Think about one small step you can take today to protect your energy. If you want, share it with me. Sometimes, hearing others' ways can inspire us. Innovation is thrilling, but it comes with loneliness. Leading Tesla through uncharted territory often meant making decisions that felt unpopular. I sometimes felt isolated, like no one truly understood the stakes. And that's a reality many leaders face. The higher you climb, the thinner the air gets. It's a price for vision. Let me tell you about the Gigafactory. Building the world's largest battery factory was risky. It required massive investment, and many thought it was a gamble Tesla couldn't afford. We faced delays, construction issues, supply chain headaches, but I believe scaling battery production was essential for Tesla's future and for sustainable energy worldwide. The key, I didn't just see it as a factory, I saw it as a cornerstone of a bigger mission. When you lead, you'll face doubt. From others, yes, but often from yourself. The question isn't whether doubt arises, it always does. The question is, does your vision outlast the doubt? Your purpose must be deeper than your fears. When things get tough, ask, why am I doing this? Who benefits if I succeed? What legacy do I want to leave? Answering these helps you stay anchored when chaos tries to pull you away. In 2015, Tesla launched Autopilot, a major leap forward, but it was controversial. Skeptics called it dangerous. Regulators were cautious. Customers were nervous. Instead of backing down, we doubled down on safety and transparency. It was a reminder progress isn't popular at first. If you want to change the world, expect resistance. What's one bold step you're hesitant to take? What fear is holding you back? Remember, every breakthrough requires courage. Every innovation begins with uncertainty. You don't have to be fearless, just willing. The inflection point taught me success isn't a finish line. It's a new chapter with new challenges. If you want lasting success, prepare for the pressure. Learn to thrive under the spotlight, and never forget, your mission is bigger than the moment. The Model 3 was supposed to be Tesla's breakthrough. Affordable, mass market, game-changing, but turning a vision into reality. That's really smooth. In 2017, excitement was high. Pre-orders poured in. The world watched. But behind the scenes, the pressure was mounting. Production delays, cost overruns, and a relentless race against time. This was the moment when perseverance would be tested like never before. Going from making thousands of cars a year to hundreds of thousands isn't just a numbers game. It's like building a skyscraper while trying to live in the apartments. We had to invent new manufacturing processes from scratch. Robots malfunctioned. Supply chains faltered. Every day unexpected problems popped up. We call it production hell. For a reason. My team and I worked 100. I was sleeping on the factory floor again. Not because I wanted to, but because there was nowhere else to be. We faced decisions that felt impossible. Should we slow down and fix quality, or keep pushing volume to meet delivery promises? There was no easy answer. Pressure can break people. It can destroy teams. I had to stay calm to keep the vision alive, even when everything screamed for retreat. Think about the last time you faced overwhelming pressure. How did you respond? Did you lash out, withdraw, or find calm? One thing that helped was breaking massive problems into manageable chunks. Instead of fix the entire production line, we focused on fixing one robot at a time, one assembly step at a time. It's a strategy anyone can use. Identify the biggest bottleneck. Solve that first, then move on. Small wins build momentum. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. That period took a toll on my health. Stress became chronic. Sleep was scarce. But I learned another hard truth. You can't pour from an empty cup. Later I committed to making time for recovery, even if just a little. That balance is key. for sustainable success. During those difficult months, an unexpected source of help arrived. One of our engineers developed a new approach to automation that reduced errors drastically. It reminded me great ideas can come from anywhere, not just the top. Leadership means creating space for innovation at all levels. Even when exhausted, I learned the value of empowering my team. Trusting them to take initiative and holding them accountable made all the difference. If you want your project to succeed, delegate responsibility. You don't have to do everything yourself. Think about your own situation. Is there someone on your team or in your family who could take on more responsibility? Can you let go of control just a little? Sometimes the hardest thing to do is to trust others, but it's necessary for growth. Eventually, the tide began to turn. Production stabilized. Cars started rolling off the line. Customers got their deliveries. That victory wasn't about luck. It was about endurance, adaptability, and belief. No one wins a war in one day. Success is a series of battles. Some you win, some you lose. The key is to keep showing up, keep adjusting, and keep believing. People often think failure is the enemy, something to avoid at all costs. But at Tesla and SpaceX, failure is part of the process. It's not just a possibility, it's an essential tool for progress. I want you to think about that for a moment. What if failing wasn't a sign you're losing, but a sign you're learning? In the early days, every launch failure at SpaceX felt like a punch in the gut, yet each failure revealed flaws we wouldn't have otherwise seen. At Tesla, early production mistakes forced us to rethink designs, simplify parts, and improve quality. Failure was heartbreaking, but it was honest. What changed everything was moving from fearing failure to being curious about what failure was trying to teach us. Instead of asking why did we fail, I asked, what can this teach us? That shift from fear to curiosity opened doors to innovation. For instance, early battery packs were prone to overheating. This could have ended the whole project, but instead of scrapping the design, the team studied every failure. They engineered new cooling systems, safety measures, and smarter controls. That problem became a breakthrough. Don't be afraid to test ideas, even risky ones. Fail fast, then fix faster. Iterate relentlessly. Speed and learning outpace perfection. As a leader, I made sure Tesla and SpaceX were places where people weren't punished for honest mistakes. Fear kills creativity. When people are afraid to fail, they stop trying new things. Encourage experimentation. Celebrate lessons learned. That's how breakthroughs happen. Think about your own life or work. What is one thing you're afraid to try because you might fail? What if that fear was your biggest barrier? Imagine the possibilities if you embraced failure as a guide. Many said SpaceX was doomed, but every failure revealed a design flaw we could fix. And on the fourth launch, it was a success. It wasn't luck. It was relentless learning from failure. When you fail, don't see it as the end. See it as part of the journey. Every mistake is a stepping stone. The only true failure is quitting. Remember, failure isn't the opposite of success. It's part of success. If you want to innovate, grow, or change your life, you have to be willing to fail, and fail often. Money is important, but it's not what keeps you going through years of hardship, sleepless nights, or doubts. At Tesla, what kept us alive wasn't the cash in the bank. It was the mission, a purpose bigger than profit. From the very start, Tesla wasn't just about building cars. It was about saving the planet, reducing humanity's carbon footprint, creating a future where clean energy powers the world. That mission gave us grit when everything else felt impossible. When the economy tanked, investors vanished, and critics piled on, we could have chased quick profits, but doing that would have meant compromising on quality, safety, and innovation. Our purpose forced us to stay the course, to make decisions that would pay off decades later. The Model S was a massive gamble. Every dollar spent was a bet on the future. We could have made cheaper cars, but that wasn't the vision. We aimed to create a vehicle that redefined electric cars, luxury, performance, and safety. The mission kept us focused, not short-term gains. Think about your own life. What is the mission or purpose that drives you? What bigger cause do you believe in? If you don't have one yet, it's okay. Start looking. Purpose is what fuels endurance. If you're leading a team, business, or family, make your mission clear. A compelling mission rallies people. It inspires sacrifices. It creates meaning beyond just paychecks or daily tasks. Tesla's mission didn't just change us internally. It inspired millions globally. It sparked a movement for clean energy and electric vehicles. When people connect with a cause, they become unstoppable. Use your mission as a compass. When decisions get hard, ask, does this move us closer to our purpose? If yes, push forward. If no, rethink. This simple practice saved us countless times. For me, it's about legacy, about doing something meaningful with my time here. I want to leave the world better than I found it. That thought kept me going through every struggle. Your mission, whether big or small, matter. It gives you strength, direction, and hope. And when you connect deeply with your purpose, obstacles become stepping stones. Success isn't about doing more, it's about doing less, but doing what truly matters. At Tesla, learning to say no was one of the toughest, but most important lessons, because every distraction drains energy, and when you're fighting for survival, energy is everything. When Tesla was starting, we had big dreams: energy storage, solar roofs, electric semi-trucks. The ideas were exciting, but the reality was hard. We had limited resources, time, money, and people. Spreading ourselves too thin, risked everything. As entrepreneurs, it's tempting to chase every opportunity, every shiny idea, every possible revenue stream, but that's a trap. Trying to do everything leads to mediocrity and burnout. True leaders prioritize ruthlessly. When Solar City came onto the scene, it was tempting to jump in fully, but we had to ask, could we handle the complexity? Could we maintain focus on Tesla's core mission? Eventually we integrated Solar City carefully, but only when the time was right, not as a distraction. Take a moment. What projects or distractions are pulling your attention away from your main goal? Write them down. Then, practice saying no to at least one thing this week. It's a powerful start. Focus isn't just about choices, it's about discipline. At Tesla, my schedule's packed, but I guard every minute carefully. Meetings get cut short, non-essential tasks get dropped. If it doesn't serve the mission, it doesn't get done. Try keeping a no list. It's the opposite of a to-do list. Write down the things you've decided not to do. It keeps you accountable and reminds you why focus is so valuable. Ironically, focus frees innovation. When you're not overwhelmed, your mind can dive deep. Tesla's breakthroughs, battery tech, autopilot came when we stopped chasing distractions and zoomed in. I didn't always get this right. Early on, I tried to do everything. That cost us time and energy. It took painful lessons to embrace saying no, but once I did, the results spoke for themselves. Focus gave Tesla the clarity to survive and thrive, and it can do the same for you. Most people stop asking too soon. The difference between those who succeed and those who give up is curiosity, relentless questioning, not just surface level questions, but drilling down to the root cause of every problem. At Tesla and SpaceX, this habit saved us more times than I can count. There's a method called the 5 W's. You ask, why 5 times or more to get to the core issue? It sounds simple, but it's profound. For example, a part keeps failing on the production. Why? Because it was made with the wrong material. Why? Because the supplier misunderstood the specs. Why? Because the specs were unclear. By drilling down, you fixed the actual root problem, not just the symptom. Early on, a rocket engine failed during testing. We didn't just patch the problem. We asked why again and again. Eventually an investigation revealed a tiny manufacturing defect. Fixing that meant all future engines performed better. Think about a problem you're facing now. Have you stopped at the first answer? Or have you asked deeper? Sometimes the first why is a cover-up or distraction. The truth is, deeper. You have to go there. Next time you hit a roadblock, ask why once, then again. Keep going until your answer is a fact, not an assumption. Don't accept vague answers. Get to the data, the reality, the core. This relentless curiosity isn't just for fixing problems. It drives breakthroughs. As I said before, starting from first principles means boiling things down to the fundamental truths and reasoning up from there. That's how you invent something new, by not settling for the status quo. One myth is that curiosity fades with age. I disagree. With experience, you know which questions matter. You learn to cut through noise and focus on what's real. Use your wisdom to ask better why. When investors doubted Tesla's battery tech, I pushed the team to dig deeper. We tested every assumption. We didn't stop until we found battery design that was safer, cheaper and longer lasting. That came from refusing to settle for easy answers. So remember, curiosity isn't just for kids or scientists. It's for anyone who wants to solve problems, innovate, and keep moving forward. There's a moment in any journey where everything shifts. For me, it wasn't a new product, a new investment, or a technical breakthrough. It was a change in how I thought about the challenge itself. If you've ever felt stuck, like no matter what you do, success is just out of reach, listen closely, because this mindset shift isn't just for entrepreneurs or innovators. It's for anyone wanting to build a better life, no matter your age or stage. When Tesla was on the edge, panic was easy. I could have let fear take over, but I reminded myself, what is the purpose behind this struggle? Not the money, not the fame. It was to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. That higher purpose made every hardship meaningful. Purpose isn't just a warm feeling, it's a powerful compass. It aligns your energy, focus, and endurance. When challenges come, purpose pushes you forward instead of pulling you back. Without purpose, even success feels hollow. With it, every setback is a step on your path. A mistake I see often is chasing quick wins. At Tesla, we had no shortcut. We committed to a long-term vision, even when the near term looked bleak. It's easy to get distracted by immediate results, but the future belongs to those who stick with their vision through thick and thin. Wherever you're listening from, drop in the comments your personal why. What drives you beyond the daily grind? Sharing it out loud, even here, helps clarify and strengthen your commitment. If you don't know it yet, that's okay. Part of this journey is discovering it. Endurance isn't about being perfect or never feeling tired or scared. It's about pushing forward. Despite those feelings, I do think it's possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. That's something I said in an interview. You don't need to be a genius or superhero. You need to keep going when most would quit. Look, I failed over 1,000 times before Tesla succeeded, but each failure was a building block. Each challenge is a lesson that I'm about to share with you. Lesson 1. People only support you when you don't need them. Let me explain this. When Tesla was struggling, most people disappeared. Friends, advisors, even partners. The silence was louder than the criticism. I had people who were close to me, who said they believed in me, literally stop returning cold. But after Tesla survived, after the Model S got momentum, suddenly everyone believed in me again. Here's the lesson. The world waits to believe in you until it's easy, so stop expecting support from people who haven't earned the right to influence you. If you're building right now, stop seeking validation. Start building momentum. That's what matters. Take a second. Ask yourself, who are the 3 people you're trusting most right now? Write them down mentally or better. Drop their first names in the comments. Are those people really with you? Or are they waiting to see if you make it before they show up? This isn't about blame, it's about clarity. Lesson 2. Talent is overrated. Endurance wins. People often think success is about being the smartest, but I'll tell you this right. It's not about intelligence, it's about staying in the game when most people quit. When our Roadster had over 10 major engineering flaws, smart people said shut it down. I said fix it, rebuild it, sleep in the damn warehouse. If you have to, we did. If something is important enough, you should try even if the probable outcome is failure. That's what I said then. It still holds true. You don't need to be a genius. You just need to be unreasonable about not giving up. I used to sleep under my desk in the Tesla factory, not because it was comfortable, but because when the workers came in at 6 a.m., I wanted them to know I was there. I wanted my team to see that I didn't expect them to do anything I wouldn't do. That's not leadership, that's solidarity. If you're leading anyone, a business, a family, a mission, your willingness to suffer with your people out, more than strategy, more than more than spitters. When things get darkest, your calm becomes their anchor. Your team watches your reaction more than your word. Dustin Free optimism is survival act illusion.